We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. I'm excited about this one. I'm excited about all of them, of course, but it's been a while since we've talked to the guest that we have on today, Abe Gurko out of California. He's also known as Won't Be Silent on TikTok. He's kind of a force of nature, not only in politics, but the Middle East and his Jewish heritage. He can talk about virtually anything. So, Abe, thanks for
Mhm.
coming back. I'm really glad you did, and I'm anxious. You always give me a chance to learn some things and ask some questions.
Always a pleasure. Are you kidding?
W-
Definitely. Hello,
We,
everybody.
I want to make sure everybody knows up front a couple of things that you're doing. We've talked about it before. Your book won't be silent. A lot of people I know have bought it. I've read it. I listened to the audiobook, which was cool. And if you get a chance, check that out. But you've got a new project that is also very impressive. And maybe you can explain that because I've heard you do videos on it, and I go, "Holy fuck, that's a big fucking deal." Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no. So, as of this past weekend on Max, HBO Max, the documentary Louder, the soundtrack of change with Selena Gomez and Stacey Abrams is a project that I created and sold to Warner Brothers. So we did that 2 years ago is when we started on it. And the fact that and it's all about the power of women's voices to affect change.
All right.
And the fact that Kamala is running for president, it's almost like a calling card for all of us to kind of usher in a woman into the White House. It's not, yeah, it's just the kismet that Kamala is running, and this film is airing 2 weeks before the election is unbelievable. And I'll tell you why it's even more unbelievable, because I think that the network, Max, didn't want to feel like they were putting their thumb on the scale for the election because,
Right.
the rich powerhouses in this world are just always running for Trump. You know what
Right.
I
Right.
mean?
Exactly.
So I thought for sure they would have waited after the election, but they gave us this, and it's really powerful. And it features all the great women of music who have written protest music. It's part of a series that is a whole docu-series on protest music, and each episode is its own reason why music has been created to speak to the moment. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It's on Max. It's called Louder, the Soundtrack of Change with
And
Selena Gomez and Stacey Abrams.
it's too bad you couldn't get any names in this thing, but maybe next time. That's fucking crazy. This gives me an opportunity to ask an age-old question that I don't ever think has ever been answered. You're the executive producer. What the fuck does an executive producer do?
It's called Just Take Credit for
No, of course you had to do something here.
no,
You were
you know
involved.
what? I did all the research for all the music that you see. It's not a chronological history of the women of protest music, but it speaks to the pivotal moments where music was used as a kind of clarion call to social justice. So it just runs the gamut, and that was, that's what I ultimately sold them on, was that extensive research that I did in all categories of the protest space. The thing what happened is we sold the idea to them in December of 22, and we got greenlit and then Warner Brothers and Discovery did that merger, and they
Right.
started canceling everything. Like, we're canceling Batgirl. So we thought for sure this whole thing would be canceled, but they said, we really love it. Why don't you do one episode as the pilot? And we'll see how that goes. So they had just canceled Roe v. Wade not long before that. So we
Right.
said, let's just do the women of protest music, and boom, it was done in time. And it's really it. I'm so proud to be doing my part for helping Kamala win. I just wish that everyone would kind of watch it. I'm trying to get it out to women's groups and just kind of let them see how important this is. You can't not watch this and vote for Kamala. Period. It's for women and for men who love women.
Well, I
That's who
think
should watch
I
this.
think I know how I can get you at least a certain amount of listeners because we have a guest on the show frequently. Her name is Old Soul. That woman is a serious motherfucking activist. She's flying all over the country. She's taking care of women that need reproductive health care. She does everything, and she's
Oh,
always sending me.
wonderful.
She's always sending me these things that I need to watch. And she's having a woman's gathering in Nevada, I think tomorrow or whenever the hell it is.
Oh,
So she's
awesome.
doing it. So all I have to do is put Old Soul on this. This fucker will be like wildfire
No,
over the country.
I'll send you a link to the Max, to Max itself. And if you have that thingy, if you don't have Max, you can like try it for a week for free. Or yeah, I mean, more eyeballs the better.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like exactly something I would watch. I like the whole
It's
music aspect.
informative, it's interesting, it's, it's just, even a segment about Dolly Parton, who that song 9 to 5 was a
Yeah,
critical moment for women in the
it
workplace. I mean, we
was.
look at Dolly as kind of this like frivolous kind of character, but she's beyond awesome.
Oh yeah,
But her
she's
music
immensely
was
talented.
part of the change. Yeah. And even Loretta Lynn, that song The
Hmm.
Pill, that was like huge to change people's perception of women being on the pill and the whole
And
women thing.
crazy that she was able to do it, what, in the 60s or early 70s?
70s. Yeah, no, it's insane. Yeah.
Nobody would have, you couldn't have done that in rock and roll, but Loretta
Yeah.
Lynn was able to do it. Um, the thing is, Abe, you and I do a lot of the similar things uh, on TikTok and YouTube or wherever, but we have kind of a different perspective. I mean, we come from different worlds, certainly. Um, uh, but you tend to be pretty positive about things, but you have these moments and times you go, I'm not so sure. And 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 I think you listen to me to get some hope, and I listen to you to get some information, so we kind of play off of each other. How are you
Right.
feeling right now, a couple of weeks out from the election?
I am confident that we can pull this out for the same reason I said this to you the first time we started talking about this when she took over. We got Trump out of the White House. We have the power to keep him out of the White House.
Right.
And I feel like that in that is the power that we have exercised in the past. I think there's more things working in her favor than there were for Joe back in 2020.
No, no
But I
question.
also but I also think on the negative side is that what Joe had was a very easy 5 word pitch. Save the soul of America. 5 words.
Yeah.
That's what we were voting on. She's got 800 things that she's running on, which is great because Democrats like to sell all these great things and be amazing and whatever.
Well, she's got
But
the forward thing. We won't
no,
go
no.
back.
Well, that's my least favorite.
Okay.
That's my least favorite of her slogans. Going back. I mean, but the thing is, going back. No, no, no. It's not my favorite. I just think I love the freedom idea. I love the fact that, see, for me, as you know, the whole one issue voter thing that I started on a
Right.
year ago. I've changed my one issue to I want a woman in the White House.
Yeah.
Period. End. Not a particular color, not because she wants health care. All that to me is like la 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 because it's all noise. It's the same talking point since the year of the flood. I'm talking about the flood of 1776.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, 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 the thing is that we're talking about Kamala's upside. And let's be honest, Kamala may be the most popular presidential candidate in history when we look at raising $1 billion in 80 days, 400,000
Beyond.
volunteers all over the country. She's got an unbelievable ground game. Donald Trump has no ground game. How much do you think? Well, I think this plays into it more, and this is why I think Joe Biden would have won, and Kamala will win even bigger because she's popular and there's a lot of enthusiasm. But this is going to be like 2020. This is more about how bad, how frightening, how incompetent, how terrifying Donald Trump was. That's what it was in 2020, and it's only gotten worse now that we're coming up to
Definitely.
2024.
And that he's even more unhinged if that's even possible.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I I think that I said it yesterday, I think in a post. I was raised by a woman who survived the Holocaust, who said, since I was a child, I have seen evil face to face, and all I wanted to raise was good kids.
Yeah.
And that is why I would never vote for him, because he is not a good person.
Yeah.
She might have a few flaws, Kamala, but she's a good person. And
Yeah.
and that's how I'm voting. And I really want to have woman, female energy at the top of the ticket in the White House. I just want to see what that does to America.
So what do we have? 250 years of men as presidents, and why not give a woman a shot? Look where we find ourselves now after those 250 years. Let's
Yeah,
try a woman and see what happens. I kind of felt the same way about Barack Obama. I wasn't as entrenched in politics back then, but I voted for Barack Obama because I liked him personally, and I thought, fucking time for a black man to be in office. Let's see what
yeah,
happens. Will the
yeah.
world fall apart? And I knew it wouldn't, but I wanted to
I
see
had
it.
I had my reservations in the beginning with him when he was on campaigning still. He was actually at Howard University doing a you know a debate, and actually Joe Biden was one of the people he was debating. I'm sure Hillary was there too, but it was really early on in the game. And somebody asked a question. It was like, so what are your thoughts on like AIDS or something related to AIDS? And he's like, well, I don't have AIDS and I'm not gay. And he got really like defensive for no reason. I was like, girl, relax. And Joe picked up on that and was like, well, we would fund whatever, because it was a while ago. And that always stuck with me, is like the weird knee-jerk reaction to the
Right.
gay HIV thing. So for whatever, of course, I loved him and I voted for him and again. And couldn't have been happier with his presidency, although we find out in the background that he's the one that's been hiring the moles who are pro-Iran, but we'll get into that
Yeah,
later.
we'll talk about that later. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about that, and we need to talk about that. But here's the thing: people compare Kamala to Barack Obama, and I don't think there's much of a comparison other than they both happen to be black. The difference is Barack came around at a different time, and the opportunities he had were much less than what Kamala will have going forward because of the times we live in now. Secondly, Kamala is far more experienced coming into this presidency than Barack Obama was.
definitely. It's unfortunate that people need to pigeonhole people right away.
Yeah,
That's like corporate America too. Once you're in a marketing executive, you can't ever be in the creative services because it's just the way the world works. That people can't think beyond this. You're not comparing apples to apples. The end. Period. I want a woman in the White House. That's my motto going forward into these next few weeks,
it's like
even though Trump wears enough makeup and hair blow drying to like make up any woman, whatever, and he's obsessed with penis size, but I
well, that's what I was going
digress.
to ask you. And I'm not mentioning this for any other reason, but did it make you nervous at all when Donald came up with these absolutely genius promotional opportunities, working in McDonald's, talking about Arnold Palmer's junk? Well, that's out of the box thinking.
I mean, first of all, the McDonald's, fake was just such a ploy. It's so obvious. I mean, I did a post about it, and like anyone that's gonna like the right wing media is thinking it was a brilliant maneuver. And I'm thinking anyone who's voting for him because he put on that clown outfit and handed out some French fries as a staged event, then this country's in bigger trouble than we know. That's number one. As for the junk thing, I did a post on that too. I think he's got daddy issues. I think that opens up the whole Pandora's box to why he's going after those straight white young men. Because, look, deep down, everyone can be had with enough alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think they're all a bunch of, they're not doing well with women. You know what I mean? At some
Horribly.
point, it's kind of like, it's so like sexually, like manipulatively, weirdly, like, and I'm gay and I don't even think about other people's fucking junk. You know what I mean?
Did you
So
see the
why
meme
is he
though?
thinking about it?
Did
Which,
you see the
no, which
meme?
one?
It was a cartoon of it was a
Melania
cartoon.
ordering an
No,
Arnold
no, it was
Palmer.
a cartoon of Arnold Palmer, and it said, keep my junk out of your mouth."
Oh shit.
I thought
I
that was
saw the
fucking
thing is
hilarious.
I saw the illustration of Melania sitting at her bar and she orders an Arnold Palmer.
I like that one too. That is awesome. But think of how pathetic this is. Kamala's going after Donald Trump for stealing elections, being a racist, taking away Roe v. Wade, doing all this stuff. And Donald's biggest shot is, let's prove Kamala didn't work at McDonald's. Wow, and that goes to his ego and his narcissism. He didn't like the fact that she put herself in a position to be tied to the middle class. And he's saying, well, I could do that too. She's just lying. She's dumb. She's crazy. So he goes and puts on the stage event and thinks he's done something, but he's done nothing but made himself look like a fool. And he does this over and over and over again.
You know, it's just the fact that he called her retarded and that there's no big blowback on that. I mean, we can't say that.
If I
We
said
can't
that,
say that.
if I said that in my
If
house,
he called her the N word, it would be fine.
yeah.
Let's face it. And there's still 2 weeks where he still might do it.
If I said the R word or the C word in my house, as much as I swear, if I said those two words in my house, I would wake up in the middle of the night with my wife standing with a bucket of boiling water. Honest to God, she will
No, no,
not
no. I
tolerate that
mean,
shit.
you know, years ago when I still had that, I mentioned that I had that blog back in the aughts when I lived in New York City.
Right.
I did a deep dive article, which I still have, just shows I haven't changed. It's called The End of Political Correctness. And it's a whole identification of all the words we're not allowed to use anymore. And that was like 2009, maybe, or 2010,
Right.
which was the beginning of the whole thing. And I just kind of feel like that word is on the list
Yeah,
for years.
it is.
So, you know, I mean, I guess, look, we call him names all day. We call him, you know what I mean, but whatever.
Well, don't you think though that he, he in this campaign he couldn't have picked and chosen all the worst things to do ahead of time. Everything he's done has failed, and this is why logically it makes no sense. We've got a very popular candidate that people love. There's a lot of enthusiasm, and Donald Trump is taking a shit every fucking day of the week, and he's got 2 more weeks to take more shits.
Yeah, I mean, he can not only call her the N word and still thrive, but he could also live up to what he said in the beginning. He could go and shoot someone in the face on Fifth Avenue, and he won't lose one voter, maybe one.
Well, yeah. Well, I think he loses more voters than we know. I mean, the base is always going to be there, but there are the middle of the road people, the moderate people, even the independents that would just always vote Republican um, in 2020 and even 2016. But I think a lot of those middle of the road or moderate people are having trouble stomaching this, especially some of the stuff they're hearing. I think that's where he's losing, and that's why there's such a disparity. I think in this upcoming election, we know we're getting a lot of Republicans. Donald Trump can't win an election without unity in his party, and we know he already doesn't have that.
I mean, we can't say that she's going to win in a landslide, but that's enough. Who knows?
I, th- I
Electorally, could easily be a landslide.
what I'm suggesting is Joe won by 7 million votes, bare minimum, and we're talking about the popular vote. Bare minimum, I think she doubles the amount she beats him by say 14, 15 million in the popular vote, and it could go even larger. I haven't committed to saying it's going to be a landslide, but I did say I think she's going to win decisively. It's not going to be up for debate. and it's conceivably could be a landslide depending on how this goes. I mean, you look at all the facts, the numbers of people with the early ballots and the money she has. I don't know if you heard this. He's got a PAC called Save America. Donald Trump does. This PAC strictly pays for his legal bills. You know where it's at right now?
What?
Minus $3 million. He's out of motherfucking money in that legal PAC.
That's
And I
why
don't
he's
even know if he
selling
can use that
shoes.
PAC to pay his legal stuff. So he's going to have to steal from Peter to pay Paul if he wants to keep up the pace in court. He keeps talking about I'm going to sue people. Yeah, with what money, motherfucker?
Yeah. Now it's, to me, it's got to be clear to whoever is still yet not early voted. Let's give a woman a chance. You see how crazy he is. Is that really what you want to have on the news every day with what other hysterical thing he's done, especially with the threats he's been throwing out there for like bait to his idiots?
Yeah.
It's just, who can even listen to this? Besides 75 million lunatics, you know what I mean? But I just need to be in a space of optimism and hope and everything that just made this country great. I mean, yeah, it'll be problematic, of course, but that's not going to help. And just to the Jews who are watching here, who are like totally think he's going to save Israel, excuse me, if anyone is going to spearhead World War III, it's him before Kamala. Like, she might have some morons in her national security group, but she can always change her personnel. He can change him. And he is like this with Putin. Putin is a massive anti-Semite. Jews can't get out of there, out of Russia fast enough.
Right.
And if Putin goes, well, if you can build a few Trump towers in Moscow, but you're gonna have to like not do anything to help Israel. Boom, bye.
Right. Right. Exactly. D-
There's no loyalty. Who's he loyal to besides anyone that's putting money in his pocket? And then I just hope people who are planning to vote for Trump are listening to this. And whether you're Jewish or not, it doesn't matter. World War III, hello.
Yeah.
You know what I
That
mean?
affects
Let's not.
everybody.
Yeah.
I know we want to talk about the Middle East and some things you're talking about with Iran and such. But before I do that, I want to mention when we talk about Kamala being black, South Asian, a woman, I feel like she's gotten this opportunity at the very perfect moment. And the reason I say that is because while everybody's focused on the crazy, destructive, treasonous shit that Donald Trump has going on and how afraid they are of him, the fact that Kamala is a woman of color, is less of a concern to the people voting. They're saying democracy or autocracy, and they don't really care who brings the democracy to them. It happens to be Kamala. Add into the fact that she's strong and she's articulate and she knows how to deal with these people. I think if we were going to get a woman of color in, this is the perfect time to do it.
I mean, I also think she's found her mojo in the
Yeah,
past 3 weeks. I mean, I was on Don Lemon's show the night of I think it was the, I think it was the Walls debate, and there was 5 people on the panel, and we all were like, "Where is she?" She's where she had like kind of had that first burst of energy, and then it started waning, and
right.
she's done. And we all sat around and were throwing out what she should be doing, and she's just about ticked off every box. I don't know if we were lucky enough to get into the hands of like, David Plouffe's office. I don't want to take credit, but she's done everything and more, and she's calm into it. I feel like she's found her mojo. I mean, she's not, I think in the beginning they didn't want her to come off as like the angry black woman,
Right.
And then there was that moment she was acting a little too Michelle Obama. When they go low, we go high. Now, fuck that, because you can't. Because the
No,
fact is, you are a black woman, so why not just give a little, give a little?
I wish I could
People,
do
man,
it.
that's it. I know.
I wish I could do it. But and the thing is, but but We are also seeing Donald, as well as Kamala is everywhere now, in spite of what they said she wouldn't do. Donald Trump is canceling event after event. Do you think it's he's 78 years old and he's tired? Do you think it's he's making a fool of himself and his people are trying to limit that? Or is it a combination of both? What do you think?
There's never one thing. Um, I actually think he doesn't want to win. I think he wants to negotiate a deal with Biden so he doesn't have to go to jail. That's one of
Good
my
luck with
other,
that.
that's another philosophy of mine. I just don't, I think he knows that the Heritage Foundation is far keener on JD Vance being president. And I think he doesn't want to just kind of easily give him the win.
Yeah.
I think he's voting against, I think he's acting against his better interests. And that's telling. And it just doesn't make sense to be that stupid.
It doesn't
It
make
doesn't make
sense.
sense.
Doesn't make sense to need to win Michigan, go into Detroit and tell the people of Detroit that your city sucks. It's
And then when
either,
you go back, it's empty.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a
It,
double fail.
right. Are you that stupid? Are you that uh, mentally diminished? Or is it intentional? It's hard to say with him.
I think it's a combination of both. But I just think that there's something that doesn't make sense. That whole in the beginning when Susie Weil and came on as the campaign manager, and
Yeah.
she was the one that kind of really was everyone was afraid of, and she was the one that made DeSantis rise happen until that ended. And when she left is when DeSantis fell apart. I don't know if you remember that, but when she took over, she was doing all the right things and telling him what to do, and then it just goes against who his instinct is, because his instinct is to just kind of shoot himself in the foot.
Yeah. And it's not going to get better. When you have a narcissist who's cornered and there's no way out,
I
then
mean,
everything comes off the table.
I refuse to believe that he has a chance of winning. I refuse to believe that.
I am so confident. People always come up, well, what if he wins? He ain't going to win. He's going to get his ass kicked. There's no two ways about it. I did the same thing in 2022 when people kept saying, oh, there's going to be a red wave. I said, there can't be. They overturned Roe v. Wade. Half the country hates these motherfuckers. No, it's not going to happen. And with all the stuff that's going on now, there's no way Donald Trump wins. And there's
I
no
mean,
way he gets close.
I'm concerned about the Senate, to be honest. The House, I'm sure we're going to take.
Mm-hmm.
The Senate, I'm a little concerned about just because he's taking so much attention away from those races to kind of know what these Democrats are up against.
Yeah.
Like in Ohio and in Montana, Tester has a challenge, and they love him in Montana.
He has a
Even though the guy that's
challenge.
running for him is a putz.
He's a fucking carpetbagger, and if you watch the debate, it's not even close. I mean, you either can elect somebody who's one of you, or some carpetbagger that's a little bit crazy. I just don't see him losing. Rick Scott could lose. Ted Cruz could lose. I think I'm less concerned about the Senate than I was, say, 6 months ago,
Okay.
because there's just too much shit going on with Roe v. Wade, Florida. I mean, if put it this way, if Florida turns blue somehow, no way Rick Scott wins.
Right, right. Yeah, we have to get rid of him. He looks like a spermatozoa. I can't stand him.
Yeah, well, he'll be one of Donald Trump's stories on Cell Block C at some
I
point.
mean, could you just imagine in your worst nightmare Trump's administration 2025? Every day he would release another murderer slash criminal onto the administration. I mean, I don't have the stomach for that kind of news reporting.
Well, I think you made a good point about JD Vance, and I've said this before. With Donald Trump, 78 years old, not in the best health, if he gets elected president, physically, can he make it? Psychologically, will JD Vance and everybody boot his ass out so JD Vance can take control? What people have to understand, if you're a Republican, if you're voting for president and you're voting for Donald Trump, you're really voting for JD Vance And are you cool with that?
Right. I mean, look, the other issue is I said it even before Kamala, before JBP 6, 7 months ago. I said, whoever Trump uses as takes on as his running mate is the butt boy for Heritage. I thought it was ultimate. I thought Mike Johnson was going to be the nominee, but they kind of need him there just in case it's like a close election, 269, 269, and then he throws it to Trump, whatever. I mean, they're so manipulative and horrible. You know what I mean? You just have to imagine they're like thinking, But I even think that the freaking Heritage Foundation, I think JD Vance is the Trojan horse. Trump's the Trojan horse. Get into the White House. JD Vance comes out, and one of these other people who missed twice, 3 strikes and you're out.
Right.
And it's gonna, you know what I mean? It's like Sirhan wishes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you happen to see Jake Tapper interview Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House?
Please, it was one of
And
my viral moments.
and Jake Tapper was bringing up Donald Trump's comments about Arnold Palmer and said the word penis like 3 times, and Mike
He
Johnson got real
clenched
flustered.
his sphincter.
Yeah, he did, and he was going, "Can we just not take that? Do this?" Do you think it was because he was embarrassed, or because he was aroused? What do you think that was?
Look, he's obsessed with his son's junk. They had that young black boy living in the house at
That's weird.
14. I mean, he's a bit of a cherub when he was young in the church. There's 18 reasons why he clenched his sphincter.
That's why I like having you on here. You can say shit I can't.
Oh man, whatever.
I want to get to a part you brought up early on, before we were on, and a little bit when we were on. We were talking about Iran and the Middle East, and we don't normally talk about the Middle East that much because I don't know much about it.
Right.
But as
And I'm not an expert either, but I have my opinion.
but you have some concerns, so let us know.
I'm concerned that there has been a leak in the CIA has uncovered that there's been leaks about the Israel attack land for Iran. And I think that there are moles in our government. And I think those are people that have been hired since when Barack Obama started. And I mean, it's not a good look. I mean, granted, the whole thing with Israel is like a tinderbox that just there's nothing else you can say. Nobody wants to see innocent people unalived. But get those hostages out and shut the fuck up. The end. Nothing else to discuss.
But
And
you
the fact
mentioned
that
you thought this hurt Kamala a little bit.
I think the reflection on Kamala and Joe currently, this is their administration. If
Right.
you have moles in there, they need to be fired. That needs to be a headline. That needs to be, it's like the problem is we're at a point where this country, there's no accountability for the people who are doing illegal things,
Right.
a criminal running for president. Where is the accountability? And I think that if Kamala doesn't want to go back, she and Joe now, because they are in office, need to say, we found them, we have identified these people, they need to be fired. And if you want to take them to some kind of, how much did they break the law with secret? You can't attack Trump for stealing documents and holding them and not doing the same thing for your own active administration.
Right.
It's two of the same things. I'm
Right.
sorry. And it's, again, the Jewish vote is like 1% of the population. I mean, we make up only 2.4% of the population as a whole.
Right.
So how much of the Jewish vote is going against Kamala because of Trump saying, oh, I'm going to be so strong on Israel, which I don't think he will, quite honestly. But it's this.
Yeah.
And the Muslim vote that she's kowtowing to is also this, in the margins, which is where we need. I guess in Michigan, I get it. That's their thing. Then again, if you're Muslim and you're voting for Trump, it was nice knowing you.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. If you're that stupid, good luck. You know what I
Well,
mean?
don't you
Yours and
think?
my life's not going to change it,
No,
though.
not at all. Don't you
Okay.
think the problem with
Those who
Israel
have
is
some
Netanyahu and not Israel?
100%. But at this point now, he's the one taking out like the bad guys, and America's sitting there going, "Don't do that." No, Hamas wants hate. They hate America. Like you see it in our own streets. They're burning our flags and saying "Death to America" in New York City, in Detroit, at the DNC, in Chicago, in here in Beverly Hills. They're
Mm.
attacking people in sitting outside having a dining, attacking them. Go fuck yourself and either get out of this country or go to, I mean, and that's the other thing. The First Amendment needs an amendment
Yeah.
because having your face covered and attacking people and blocking streets and getting disrupting regular everyday life should not be covered by the First Amendment. I'm sorry. And sometimes they sound a little bit like Trump, but I think if you're burning the American flag, that's bullshit. I thought it was bullshit during the Vietnam War, and I think it's bullshit now.
Yeah, well,
Because
they were doing it
thing
during
is,
Desert Storm too.
yeah, but during the Vietnam War, why were they burning the American flag? We were killing 55,000 young Americans.
Right.
That's who died in Vietnam. Who's dying? You know what I mean? If your priority is Gaza, by all means, yalla, as they say in the Middle East, just go. Go volunteer. Go move to Egypt and help get these people food at the rations at the border. But shut
Well,
the fuck up.
well,
Sorry.
the Biden administration did say something. They made a comment about to Israel, said, "You've got to pick up the humanitarian efforts in Gaza, or we have to, or you might be doing something illegal, and we have to look at pulling back money and weapons." Now, that's not doing it, but at least it's said.
I mean, I think a lot of that is just uh,
Yeah.
theater. I think a lot of it's theater. I think America is supporting Israel unbeknownst to everybody strongly. And I think that they need to have rhetoric that makes it sounds like they're going to hold back this and hold back that. But I think that's part of that. This isn't a campaign, and Kamala's in it, and she has to win. So I think you have to kind of look at how things are said regarding that because it is the big issue that a lot of people are deciding on, especially young people. Then again, Biden won with the good, comfortable vote and margin, both not only popular, but also with the Electoral College. And only like what, 23% were young people?
Right.
We can't put all our eggs in the young people basket.
Right.
We have to look to the Democrats who might not have voted in 2020 and 22, who are like you and me in our age group, that are couch potatoes, that can potentially lose their Medicare, Medi-Cal, whatever other kind of resources for
Social
people,
Security. Yeah.
healthcare, Social Security. Those are the people that can lose more in this election. And if young people want to chalk their future up in the air and see where the shit falls, where it, where it may, good luck, because we've had our lives, we've lived our lives, we feel our successes, we've had our joy, we've had our pains and suffering, like every human, but our life won't be different.
No.
It'll
No.
just be annoying. You know what
Yeah,
I
it'll be
mean?
annoying, and I'll get another 4 years of viral
Well, you'll
videos
have
about.
content up the ass. So you
Yeah,
can...
yeah, no shit, no shit. Let me ask you this: Do you think Kamala's in kind of a tough position? She's kind of hemmed in here. They always say, "Why didn't she do this? Why didn't she do?" She's the vice president. She doesn't get the final call. Joe Biden does, and Joe Biden's more of an old school guy. He's almost kind of antiquated for the times. He's a great guy, great president, but he's out of touch with what's going on now as opposed to what's always gone on in politics. Kamala can't say, Joe, no, that's fucked up. We're going to do this. She doesn't have that opportunity. She's got to pay homage to Joe Biden as long as she's the VP to his presidency.
Look, respecting the job that she has and the man that gave her that position is no reason to badmouth her because she's not saying, no, I don't want to have anything to do with him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're always going to have things we should have, would have, could have said, you know? it almost it doesn't matter because anything she could fucking say doesn't talk about Arnold Palmer's dick and doesn't talk about I'm going to get the enemy within and I'm going to have the military. Like, shut the fuck up. You're not comparing apples to apples. Like, anyone who brings that argument up, you just know it doesn't matter what they're saying. They are irrelevant. And I don't care if it's the fucking New York Times. That
Yeah.
irrelevant, Brad.
I'm trying to picture the Trump campaign's meeting. I need some ideas here. I need some fucking ideas. We got to have something to talk about. We got to have some talking points. And the weirdo in the corner says, "Are we ready for the Arnold Palmer's dick thing?" Yes, that's exactly right.
People
We
love
got
dick
to do.
jokes.
They love dick jokes. In fact, Donald Trump should his next money grift should be a text to everybody with a dick pic.
Did you
Now
see
you
that
wouldn't know if it
meme?
was a shiitake mushroom or a dick pic, but that would give the innuendo part of it.
Did you see that meme going around on on Twitter when uh what was the hooker that he had to pay off 160?
Stormy
Stormy
Daniels.
Daniels goes,
Yeah.
he's no Arnold.
I know Arnold Palmer, and he's no
I
Arnold
did them.
Palmer.
I did them. Oh, I don't. Do you put stories up on TikTok at all? You just do posts. Do you ever do
No,
stories like?
I have done stories, and probably will do more after the fifth.
So I haven't fully embraced the stories, but the thing is that I didn't know is that when you put up stuff and people respond to it, goes into a separate folder of
Yeah,
responses, which I just opened up. It's like I have hundreds of responses because I did the one with Melania ordering an Arnold Palmer and the picture of Stormy Daniels saying he's no Arnold Palmer.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
So I have to adjust because it's all new followers. You know what I mean?
I'll have to try that because I haven't. I've been pretty focused, but
It's
uh,
don't they need to be short or images or maybe you know what I mean? It's not like a full on thing because people
okay.
are like have the attention span of a gnat.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Abe, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yeah, okay.
We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. We're talking to Abe Gurko from California. Always a great talk. We've talked about a number of things. I don't know where we're going to head. We never do. We never really plan anything. It's just a conversation. But one of the things I'm looking forward to, Abe, and see if you agree, after November 5th, Kamala wins. Maybe we get control of the House and the Senate, even by a little bit. I see what I can only describe as kind of a reckoning happening after November 5th. Everybody's been walking on eggshells. Well, the election, we don't want to look bad for the election. We got to wait till after the election. We got to push this till the election. Once the elections get done, there's nothing further to wait for. Superseding indictments for sitting members of Congress, for Ginny Thomas, for Roger Stone. Um, and I think I have something. I just read this, and now this is running, I don't know, Friday, and we're recording it, what, Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Well, whatever it is. Um, this story came out, and people will have heard it by now, but I just want to bring it up, and I think you'll enjoy this. This comes from CNN. A federal judge on Tuesday ordered former Donald Trump attorney and New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani to turn over all his valuable possessions and his Manhattan penthouse apartment to the control of Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, the Georgia election workers who were defamed, who he now owes $150 million, and he's got to do it in 7 days. Isn't that just desserts?
Delicious.
Finally, somebody's getting their shit taken.
You think it's gonna happen?
Well, the judge said it has to happen.
I just don't think he's ever gets called to. I don't think that there's who's been punished except the underlings.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. When we talk about Giuliani and Donald Trump, at best they've been inconvenienced or put out. That's what I'm saying. After November 5th, when there's nothing to walk on eggshells anymore, is that the time of the reckoning? Is that when things start falling on top of their fucking heads?
I mean, I am just going to reserve a position of, I always believe it when I see it, because so much is going to depend on who wins. But it's not only who wins, it's the aftermath of the fighting as to who won or not. Because let's face it, if for whatever reason Trump and his minions are successful at theoretically stealing the election the way they stole it from, I don't care what anybody says, from Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
If they do it to a black woman, honey, because what you're going to have is, like I said, I did a post of it yesterday. We got 1 million people in Los Angeles alone at the Women's March,
Yeah.
coupled with the BLM 2020. You combine that to the stolen election from a woman and a black woman.
Yeah.
This kind, I mean, I said it yesterday. I said, this whole thing about him with the enemy within, I said, if anyone should be scared of that, it should be Republicans, because Lord help those who steal this election from a black woman, honey, because we will sit back and watch the fires burning. And honey, we're the ones that they're going to have to be afraid of. It's so not the other way around.
Well, I've said that too. Everybody says, well, if Donald Trump's win, there'll be a civil war. No, they're not going to go up against Joe Biden. They have no power. They're cowards. My biggest fear of violence is if Donald Trump wins, because there's a
Oh
lot of people
yeah,
absolutely terrified of Donald Trump and the prospects of him becoming president. People are going to be frantic. Thankfully,
girl,
that's not going to happen.
you just have to think of the power of the Democrats' ability to galvanize. Look at the Women's March.
Yeah.
And that was like innocent, sweet singing and kind of wearing a pink hat. But you're going to have them all pissed off because there go kind of birth control bills and whatever else that they Christian nationalists want to implement against women's rights. And I mean, again, and you have the people of color are just going to be like, oh, you didn't just do that,
Yeah.
bitch. I mean, I'm going to be, it'll be like me and you be like, mm-hmm. We'll be like sitting on the porch going, oh, there goes another one of them MAGA towns. You know what I mean?
Burned to the ground. That I am truthfully fearful of that
I
because,
mean, if you think about what happened in Tulsa and like, you know what I mean? The Tulsa massacre. I mean,
right.
just, what? You don't think these people are coming? Please. That in of itself should be a campaign message between now and the election by somebody.
Absolutely.
Careful what you wish for,
Yeah.
because that is what the MAGA is going to be in trouble for. They're going to be careful what you wish for, you fools. You voting for, again, good versus evil. I want to be on the right side of history. My side of the street's going to be clean. I'm voting for the woman.
Yeah,
Period.
absolutely. What do you think? I've said before that Donald Trump is going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. And it's hard to imagine that he could get crazier and say stupider shit than he already did. We got, at the time of you're listening to this, we're looking at week and a half before the election, and it couldn't come soon enough. It seems like it's been forever. When it becomes more obvious that things aren't going for him to him. And I'm not sure if that ever comes because I think he's delusional. I think he thinks he's winning. I really
Oh,
do.
definitely. Yeah.
But what happens? What crazier shit could possibly happen?
He's going to call out the trolls and call them out. And it's going to be January 6th, only it's going to start on November 6th.
But
They're
is it
already
going to work?
planning. You know what? Nothing's going to work. But the point is, the damage would get done.
Yeah.
The challenge will happen. They're not just going to be like, oh, he lost. Good night.
No,
No,
no.
they're incensed. So what he's going to do between now and then is just little by little drop little pieces of chocolate for the ravenous MAGA lunatics and this new breed of young straight white men, which you could completely crack up from, who I don't even know if they're even registered, half of them, to vote. I mean,
True.
they're not like Taylor Swift fans. They're not like Swifties, honey.
No,
You know what I
definitely not.
mean? It's like, whatever, but there will be some kind of backlash because it's in their, their crazed cult members attack those who attack our king and savior. It's like, what are we even talking about? It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, truly. What you think my idea of doing TikToks on November 6th by simply tagging every Republican I can possibly think of and just laughing my ass off in the
And
video?
doing yan yan yan.
Do you think that might cause some backlash for me?
No, I just think that they're gonna, look, they can't hate you anymore by now,
True,
right?
true.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's just we don't live in a civil society currently because of him. We
Can
just
we get
don't.
that back though? Can we get that back, say Kamala wins? Or is it always going to be contentious
No,
like
no,
that?
no. And then it's like, how often have you been able to put the toothpaste back in the tube?
True.
So that's why what I said earlier, my concern is for Kamala and the current administration and or Kamala, let's say she wins, if they don't do something to curb this anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist youth culture that's cultivating in the universities and deal with that. Like, I've been calling for the National Guard for 3 years to be in certain locations. This is even before October 7th.
Right.
We have lunatics walking around. These smash and grabbers, fuck you. You've made it to that Beverly Hills where I live, and like when you used to be like the stores and all the retail and all the excitement of, like it's not even comfortable to walk there anymore. They boarded up all the beautiful you know what I mean? It's like, no, and fuck you. And and that's another thing where I agree with Trump. Like the smash and grabbers should like just be thrown into jail. Period. And like these California is so stupid. But if it's over $995, then like shut up.
Yeah.
Stealing is not good. Did anyone look at the 10 fucking commandments? And that's another thing about the Christian nationalists, the hypocrisy that the Christian nationalists would use that lying criminal who's broken maybe 9 out of the 10 commandments, and you want to put the 10 commandments in all the schools? Go fuck yourself. You're not making any sense, and you're showing how poorly thought out this whole thing is.
Well, because of the George Floyd riots, people, Republicans, Donald Trump, love to talk about the burning of Minneapolis and how it's a wasteland. I live in the suburbs of Minneapolis. I live on a lake. I can walk outside and it's absolutely beautiful. I can go downtown Minneapolis and it's quiet. It's not like a lot of major cities. It's pretty quiet.
Mhm.
Minneapolis isn't burning. It had its riot period. It's like every other
Yeah,
fucking city does. But it's a very quiet place. What you're painting, Los Angeles or California in general, there are some issues, not to the extent where it's burning, but like it did back in the 90s. But you do have some crime problems in California. We hear a lot of people talking about it. You live there. What? And I'm going there on Thursday, so please let me know. Do I
you
need to
live in
come
it.
strapped or what?
And no, you're in a very safe area.
Okay.
No, it's just that there's just incidents. It's not like we're not living in like the Bronx circa 1978. You know what I mean? Just, it's the smash and grab has kind of calmed down here in this area, but it's these people being attacked just for their religion, dining out on the streets of Beverly Hills. Like, and if there's no recourse, then like this is who Kamala is relying on to help push her over the edge in Minneapolis, in Michigan, which is almost like she's going to owe them something. Like what? Allow you to keep burning the American flag and allow you to keep saying death to America? What? What? I just want to know because she's going to have to take a stand. you can't be as amazing as you are on this campaign trail, bringing Americans together and all of her messaging about not going back and this and that and all this togetherness and doing what's best for the middle class. What's best for the middle class is not having people in the streets closing down airports because of a war that has nothing to do with them.
Right.
They're
Right.
not even relate, and so that's where my concern is. Like, what is she going to owe those like people? It's the same thing with Trump. If Trump wins, what does he owe Elon Musk besides running the whole freaking government? Because Trump's going to be like, okay, I don't have to do a thing. You know what I mean? He's not looking to work hard. Let's
Right.
face it.
No, he's not looking to work hard. And I honestly think that as much as Kamala is doing what she's doing now, at her heart, at her core, she is a prosecutor. And while
Mm-hmm.
she's a compassionate, decent woman, she's also pretty fucking tough, as we saw with Brett Baer and as we saw in
100%.
the debate. And I think we're going to get a different tone coming out of the White House than we've seen under Joe Biden. And I'm not putting Joe Biden down. Joe's a little more easygoing guy. But I think Kamala probably sees that there needs to be some toughness going forward, and she'll
Right,
be
right.
up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's just take it a day at a time. How's that?
This is this is how it always is with Abe and I. I'm pretty positive all the time. I know what I feel like is going to happen, and Abe goes, "Yeah, but
Eh,
it could maybe not.
Shalom. Look, let me
Maybe."
put it to you this way. If you were raised by a Holocaust survivor, you would always expect the other shoe to drop too. Bye, Shlomi.
No, no, no,
You
no,
know what I mean?
no. I get that. I was raised by a narcissist, sociopath, pathological liar, and a wonderful woman. So that was an interesting balance there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh, yeah, it's funny as we get to our age now. I'm still seeing people that I know that maybe drink too much, and they say, "Well, my dad always drank too much, so that's why I drink too much." And I say, "Well, when you got to be 18, 19, didn't you realize the difference between right and wrong? If your dad did the wrong thing, don't do that shit." I hate that
Well,
excuse.
look who you're talking to. A
Yeah,
retired drug addict. My parents were not drug. My parents were everything that I wasn't.
but you were kind of a kid of the era. I mean, you were talking the 70s and
True,
80s.
true, true.
Everybody was doing drugs. Everybody was doing cocaine in the 80s. It was a much different
Yeah,
climate then.
but you know what? I just to admit something personal that I feel like even though I've been able to rise to so many occasions of personal challenges, I feel like it's still a flaw in my character
Well, we're all
because
flawed.
of right, but it's because of something that I didn't allow myself to take control over,
Right.
which is still where I am now. Is all this great successes in my book and the film, and still I have to start over and like look for work. You know what I mean? Which is a challenge I embrace and I look forward to it, and I'm not intimidated by it. But it is unfortunate that
Yeah.
once again I get in my own way, and I think that that's that's something that if you can at least know that about yourself, what your downfalls are, you have a chance of kind of, it's like that thing. It's in my book. My two things that I live by: either that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger, which is where I am currently, and life is choice, and you can't not look at whatever situation you're in that your choice impacted where you are. So based on those two things is why I want to just believe in the power of choice. And that is why I strongly think that Americans have a choice between good and evil. And I think that you don't want to dread making the wrong choice, which is why there's only one path here for us to do. And for whatever reasons you can make up for why you don't want to vote for Kamala, has less to
Fuck
do with
you.
the fact that it boils down to good versus evil.
Yeah. If you don't vote for Kamala, I hate your fucking guts. That's just way to. Let me give you a little tip. Now, this may sound woo woo or I don't know what you call it. But I'm a firm believer. Somebody once told me, what you get is what you think and what you say and what you do. Okay. And you always see these videos about manifestation. I never really, I don't necessarily buy into the manifestation. I want $1 million and then get $1 million. That's not how it works. But I believe that you think the way you think and I think the way I think is because we trained our minds to think that way. And if we trained our minds to think that way, theoretically, we can make our minds think a different way. And you can't just
True.
snap a finger and say, okay, I'm going to think this way now. You've got to train it.
Yeah.
And a lesson I've learned, and you may want to try it because it fucking works for me. You know, you go to bed at night, you say your prayers, and I don't know if you'd call them affirmations, but I say these out loud in hopes that whatever in the universe brings it back to me, and it seems to work. But two of the things I say a lot of things when I talk about, but two of the things are I say it 3 times every night. I am who I am. That's enough. I am who I am. That's enough. And then I say, everything I do works out for the best for me. And I do that 3 times. And I have a few other ones, but without fail, I'll say my prayers for my family, and I'll say those not affirmations, but declaratives or whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
And you know what? Things always do work out for me one way or another. It's not to say you won't have bad moments, but
Right.
like your experience with drugs, or I spent a period of time where I probably drank too much. I wasn't an alcoholic and I just quit cold turkey and I haven't drank in 30 years, 35 years. Um, but those experiences, while they may be bad, it did work out for the best for me because there was a lot of learning going on in that process. And you may be headed down a better path than you would have anyway without that bump in the road.
Right. Yeah, no, no. I'm very about starting the day in a state of gratitude that I'm here for another day and what can I do with that. And I don't do the ones before bed, but I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah.
But I think you can't get to your 60s without being optimistic. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? You know, and yeah, so I think this is a very telling time in our lives. The same way living through the Vietnam War backlash was a very telling, very like crazy time in American pop culture, which was happening. So much was converging at that point. It's almost like the 70s is a blueprint for what's happening now, because there was the civil rights, women's rights, gay rights, the war, the students, Americans dying. There was so much anxiety, which is actually, I think there's a little less now than what was going on then,
Oh, I think
because
so
that was
too.
a
I think so too.
convergence of so many different things. Here, we just know it's Republican, Democrat, boom. You know what I mean?
I think the 60s were far more tumultuous than what we're dealing with now. And I was just a little kid at the time. I was, in my single digits. I turned 10 at 70 in 1970. But I remember watching the shit. And what was weird is I wasn't as troubled by it when I was a little kid because from the time I was born to the time I was 10, that's all I saw anyways. I just figured that's how the fucking world is. I had no
Right.
idea that it could get better and get calm and get nice and bright and sunny. But now then, we got to the 70s, we had our issues there, but things got better. But you said something that I've said many times too, is that no matter what happens, whoever gets elected president, nothing's going to change for you and me much. That's what
Mhm.
young people have to understand. When you do what you do and I do what I do, we're doing it for 2 reasons: because it's the right thing to do. And we're actually fighting for our kids, our grandkids, our great grandkids, our nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews. We know what can happen. And even though it may not be any skin off our nose, we're at least trying hard to make sure they don't have to suffer through some of the shit that we did. And
And
if they understood that, they may be less pushback against boomers.
and just to put another perspective on that, even though I don't have the kids, and that reason for, I mean, I have nieces and nephews and great nieces and great nephews, but the fact remains, I do this because I will not live in a fascist country.
Well,
My
yeah.
parents did not go through Dachau and the gulags of Russian Siberia for me to be like, oh, You mean if fascist wants to take over America? Sure, not doing it.
Well, these
Not
people
doing
that,
it.
that seem to embrace the fascism of Donald Trump, I mean, they've been asked direct out, you okay with fascism? Long as it's Trump. I don't think these people really understand what fascism is.
No, 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 they don't.
They figure
How's
if they're
this?
with Trump, they're safe. Everybody else gets their ass kicked. That's not the way it goes.
I saw on Fox News interviewed one of the women that went through the McDonald's that Trump was giving the French fries out to.
Right.
She was Russian. I mean, nice choice.
Wow.
She's like, my
Wow.
name is, you know, what? Anyway, it's just all gonna be okay.
It,
Let's end on a note of positivity.
it's going to be okay. It's going to be
Yeah.
okay. And I want, we were talking about something that you've got coming up over and above.
Oh,
We'll
right,
remind people,
right.
but you were going to talk about something that you've got coming up. And as we're coming toward the end, it's very interesting. And I'm sure the people would be very interested to hear about it.
Which one? The louder the
No,
movie
we'll talk.
that's on Max?
We'll pimp that after this. But
Oh, no, I'm going into a meeting to find out there's an art group that here in Los Angeles that has created this art therapy for the people who are hostages in Gaza.
mhm.
And I want to find out about how I can possibly help message on their behalf because I think it's really important. I mean, I think a lot of us suffer PTSD in different ways from our life's experiences, but having something as severe and intense as that, and also knowing my parents, especially my mom who survived Dachau, I know she was suffering with PTSD, but there was nothing there was nothing available to those people who survived. So survivor guilt and survivor trauma is something that's very real for me because of my family. So I want to see if I can help them. But I just want to give a little plug for my book, Won't Be Silent, Don't Stop Till It Matters, on Amazon. And if you go to Max, please watch Louder, the soundtrack of change. It's about the power of women's voices to affect the way our culture speaks to various topics, whether it's abortion rights, women's rights, workplace rights, equality. It's an informative, musical, 1 hour documentary that I'm very proud of, that I was able to get Selena Gomez and Stacey Abrams as my executive producers.
How did you
So
get
it's
them attached? Did you do that?
so yeah, well, it's here's how it works. I had sold the idea of this series to a production company. They liked the idea. They were shopping it around because they are, award-winning production company here in LA. So nobody was buying it. Nobody was buying it. It was only like they give you a shopping deal. It's a year deal. They go, we like your idea. You have a 1 year contract. If we sell it, great. If we don't, have a nice day. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
In the last weeks of this 1 year plan, which everybody was saying no, I had lunch with a friend of mine who works at, it was one of those random things, who works at Sony. And he says, I hear Selena Gomez's production company is looking for projects. So I ran to my computer, pitched her management company, and they said, we do not take unsolicited projects. So I called the production company. I said, call them right away. And boom, within 2 weeks, she said she would do it if Stacey would do it with her. And Stacey said yes, of course. So this is the first thing Stacey did after having not won in the governor race in Georgia. So it was like a big thrill for me, because I did everything I could to try to get her elected. But you know what? It's like the celebrities are there. I'm here. I'm like, once you sell a project to like a company the size of who I sold it to, which is Warner Brothers and Rock, Paper, Scissors. So I become like on a need to know basis. I become like the adopted child who's like sitting in the back, not even at the main table for dinner. But it's my project and the credits are amazing. So it's executive producer Abe Gurko in association with Won't Be Silent Productions. So I
Wow.
couldn't be happier. It's on Max, streaming all day. It's a must see. And it is, again, it's a coincidence. It's a love letter to women and the men who love them
It's
to
meant
vote
to
for
it's meant to
Kamala.
happen. And I got to say, between Selena Gomez and Stacey Abrams, those are two women I couldn't admire more for
They're
different
amazing.
reasons. They
A
are amazing.
different, they're amazing. I'm so, yeah, it's like, you know what? My friend always used to say, God loves you, even though I got $20 left, but he still loves me. So I don't care, you
Well,
know.
you made it this far, and don't you think Stacey Abrams needs to be in Kamala Harris' administration somehow? We
Oh,
need her
I'm
in the action.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I would have really actually loved for her to have been the head of the DNC as opposed to Jamie Harrison.
Absolutely.
But oh, she's going to be. I mean, I can't imagine that she's not. I mean, I know she has a production company now and whatever. She's dilly dallying with the entertainment business now, but I think her heart is in politics, and I have full confidence that she will be part of the administration.
And
Which is what we need to talk about next time. Is like who is our wish list to be in the administration,
absolutely, we'll definitely do that.
even before the election.
Absolutely. I'm confident she's going to win. I don't even fucking worry about it. Everybody goes, my wife keeps talking to people when she's working and he goes, I'm so worried. She always goes, my husband says, don't fucking worry about it. It's going to be good. Now I'm going to look like I got egg on my face if I'm wrong, but I know I'm not wrong. So the one thing I want to say about Selena Gomez, she's obviously immensely talented and she's
Immense.
obviously immensely intelligent. The best quote I ever heard from her, she was on David Letterman one time and David Letterman was interviewing her, and she had dated Justin Bieber for a while, and they had broken
Mm.
up. And Dave goes, "Yeah, I had Justin Bieber on here. I think I was a little rough on him. I think I made him cry." And Selena says, "That makes both of us."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's amazing. I mean, the funny thing is that when we had pitched her the song that she had done as the after the breakup with
Hmm.
Love to Love Me is the song, had made there was 350 million views on her
Wow.
video. I was like, okay, hang up with me and call Selena Gomez. Da-da-da, and one thing led to another. So
And she's a great
hopefully this
actress too. That
fab. Are you watching that?
yeah, yeah.
The last two episodes are laugh out loud funny.
I love
Laugh
her.
out loud funny. Yeah.
I love her.
Anyway,
I wish she'd marry one of my kids. Um,
well, you get on
Well,
that.
the last thing, I'm going to be in LA Thursday through Sunday. At some point, you and I are going to connect up. So I got to meet you
Yeah,
in
I
person.
mean, I am in the neighborhood where you're going to be. My sister is also coming to town, but she has she's got limited attention span. But I'm available. I have no other
If
plans.
nothing else, to say hi, give a hug, and have a
No, no,
coffee or
no. We
something.
plan. I mean, either I'll come to your hotel, or you can come here. It's fine.
Okay.
You should
So
come here. I'm like a mile and a half away, or
maybe we'll
actually
do that. We'll have a
2.4
car down
miles.
there. I'll
Yeah.
have an entourage with me, as I always do, of course. I got when you're a TikTok star, you got to have a fucking entourage. Well, you know that as well as anybody.
Yeah, honey, I cover the waterfront.
All right. Well,
All right.
Abe,
Have a great few days, and I'll see you this weekend.
sounds good. Abe, thank you very much.
Excellent.
For those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.